Hello, everyone. Welcome. And I have Coach Tracy with me. Coach Tracy, thank you for joining me on this episode.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And today's going to be different because I asked Coach Tracy to ask me questions because I always ask everyone. So for a change, I said, let's let her ask me questions. So what do you think of that?
I love that idea because I love to hear you explain all of these great ideas with such depth.
Perfect.
So here
Let's
we go.
do it.
I have a feeling that this conversation isn't going to just be something to listen to, but rather something to be felt. So knowing you as I do, I know that everything you do has to be felt. And I love that.
Yes.
So for someone hearing you for the first time, what are they stepping into when they hear ReadinessOS?
I think when they hear it for the first time, they think I'm going to give them strategies. They're all excited. Wherever I go, they're all excited that it's going to be full of strategies, full of hacks, or this is like biohacking. Readiness means that we are going to implement all of this and do that. And then I don't give them anything, and they're looking at me like, what's happening here? Even at the last Parenting in Flow event, it was just like that. So when I don't, and I start doing things, and then they start feeling, they're like, this is different. Like, I really want them to come home to themselves. That's what ReadinessOS is all about, right? Coming home to yourself. And that's not with hacks and strategies and techniques. That's really feeling your rhythm, really feeling your heartbeat, really settling into your own breath. So that's what happens.
So that already feels different from how most people approach growth. So you often say people aren't broken, but blocked. Yes. So what does that mean? And what's usually blocking them?
Oh, so many things, right? So many things are blocking them, right? But we always been, in our education system at home. Let's go back to home first. That's our first environment where we learn, right? So even at home, we are told that's not a good behavior. Don't do that. Do this. You're not behaving, right? We always learn from that. That's how our first teaching comes through, right? All of our conditioning comes through somebody's telling us, either our mom or dad or grandparents or siblings telling us, don't do this, don't do that. Right? So we're conditioned by behaviors. And then I learn, okay, if I do this, they're going to get mad. If I do this, they're happy. So I want to please them, right? Then we learn into pleasing everybody. So that's how we go. And then we start school. Again, school is expecting us to behave in a certain way because it already has a set up rules and regulation how we should show up. It doesn't matter if I come there ready or not. I'm expected to behave in a certain way and output in a certain way. I'm already expected. So those of us who know how to do that, we're fine. We shine and we get good grades and we get very good report cards. But those of us who don't know what to do in those, in that environment, we get labeled. You have behavior. Your behavior is not acceptable. You might have some conditions. Let's look at what conditions do you have. Then we go into labels, right? So really, the conditioning starts at home and then continues into school. And then we carry all these labels put on ourselves into the real world. We exit and then we continue to live through those, right? Mm-hmm. Really modeling that behavior. So really, if you think about it, I don't want to think of it as behavior. I want to think of it as something is blocking me. If I'm not able to express myself the way I'm born, because we are all born with the fingerprint, just like a fingerprint, all SoulPrint, right? If we're able to express that, if I'm not able to express that, what is blocking me? And that gives just that statement, right? Did you notice when we say that statement, it really brings compassion, like it comes from the heart. Like, what is blocking you versus, oh, that's such a behavior.
Yeah, it feels so much less judgmental. And people are feeling so stuck and overwhelmed and they're trying so hard but nothing is landing. So what is actually happening inside someone's system in those moments? And why doesn't more strategy solve it?
Yeah, the system, if you think about even a flowing river, right? I go back to the analogy of a flowing river. Like if it's blocked, what is the point of adding more water to it? It's not gonna push through those rocks. It doesn't have the power for that. We have blocked with so many obstacles. It's not going to go through. So removing the block is number one. So that's why I always say first thing is to become aware of it, right? A lot of people we're not aware of what's blocking me. I don't even know I'm blocked because I keep telling myself that I am just broken, or I'm just not good at this, or I am just stupid. Like my word was growing up, stupid. Anytime anything came my way, I would call myself stupid. And that was the end of me trying to do any more with that. The minute the stupid word came, that was the end of me trying anymore. And it came pretty quickly for many things. It was pretty fast.
So instead of trying to do more, you're saying that something else has to come first.
Yes.
So what does readiness actually look like in real life?
When I'm ready, I'm in flow. If you're ready, you should be in flow. Right? You don't need more hacks to make you flow. You are already in flow. You should feel ready. You should feel excited about something. When we're feeling fear, anxiety, if you're feeling any of those towards anything you need to do, you're not in flow. You're not ready. And that means if I look internally, you're blocked. And we don't know what that is. So we need to bring awareness first. Then we need to make alignments. And then we need to activate those systems that are blocked so that you can become ready to accelerate. Right?
So I've often heard you speak, and you speak in everything through time. So then, now, soon. So what does that lens allow you to see that most people miss? So where do people usually get stuck? Then, now, or soon?
Usually we're in the past. Yeah, most of us are in the past because we love to relive those things, right? Our brain is, that's my purpose in life, is to share what I got on the day that I woke up again with the second life, is the power of mastering your brain, not allowing your brain to take control over your thoughts and think it's in control instead of you being in control of it, right? So for me, past was so much like, especially if you have trauma in your life, especially if you suffered so many things or watched so many things in your life, such as war, right? Such as family dynamics. All of these things are going to affect with how you think. And most of it, you replay the past. And because we can't solve it, right? That was my biggest thing, is none of my problems were solvable. Like I can't help my dad to be not alcoholic. I can't. Mm-hmm. I can't stop the war that I escaped. I can't. Like all these problems that I have been exposed to are things that I can never solve. So what does my brain want to do? Instead of, because it cannot solve, it wants to relive it and keep me in the past. It wants to replay all of that. Look, you haven't been able to solve this. Look how stupid you are. Like it wants to, me to go over that again and again and again. And if I go over that again and again, I can't be here in this moment. I'm not being productive. Of course, I'm not going to get anything done. Of course, I'm stupid in the now and here space because I'm spending all my time in the past, which no one can do anything about it. But we're not aware of that, right? We think we can do something about it, or our brain thinks we can do something about it.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about flow, you talk about it in a way that feels very different. So most people think flow is performance or a peak state. But flow is really something different in your work. So can you describe what flow means to you?
It is a state, for sure. You are getting into a state, but where everything feels peaceful, right? First, number one thing is your nervous system needs to feel home and at peace. Not like I have to produce and perform, I have to do this, I have to do this. That's not flow state. I have to be at a peace, which means that I lose track of time. But I'm working and I'm getting things done, and I look and 2-3 hours have gone. I have not even noticed the clock. And the opposite to that is, have you ever, looked at the clock at somewhere we are standing where we're not in flow and we feel stuck, and we look at the clock every second and it never moves. It seems like that hand never moves, and you're like, what is going on? Is that clock broken?
I think a lot of kids feel that way at school these days.
I did in my classroom. I did. Even in those days I did. I would look at the clock and it would be, I want 2:45 because that was my bell to go home, leave the classroom. So 2:45. No, it would never come to that 2:45. That 2:45 seemed like a year long to get there.
Yes, for sure.
So that's not flow. That is forced focus. They were forcing me to focus because everybody should be in the state of flow, is what our classrooms demands. But I was dealing with a whole bunch of stuff. I would either daydream or look at the clock and wish, can you move? Can you move? And I was like, move, like talking to the clock, or, just wandering around in my head from past to the future, but I couldn't be now and here. The now and here state was missing. I could go to the past and dwell and be sad about it, or, whatever feelings coming up, or in the future, I could be designing something and going, you know what, that's not going to work. Look at your past history. You're a loser. You're a stupid person. Why would you even plan something like that for the future? So both of these states that I think I look quiet because I was a quiet student, right? I was one that never caused a problem. So for kids like me, it wasn't that we were causing a problem or doing anything wrong. We were not even focused to be here and there. Our body was there physically, but our mind was doing the future, and the past was 24/7 in my head. So that's where it comes from, me being in that state of not being able to focus in the now and here. I was able to use that to understand what our brain is doing. And only way to find flow is to make sure that we know how to bring ourselves back to here and now, right?
And to that alignment that you always talk about. So a place where I find people get really curious is when they hear the term SoulPrint Biology. So when you say that, what are you actually pointing to?
Yeah, it's a beautiful word, but a lot of people associate that with spirituality, right? Somebody asked me, this is some kind of religion, right? It's not.
Personality or identity, I find.
So it's really not. It's just like your blueprint or fingerprint, right? We are made out of so many systems inside this body, and every system is working together and coordinating together to make me the person I am right now, to talk like this. Now, if one of those is off and it's blocked, it's offline, I'm not going to be able to do what I'm doing right now, right? I'm not going to be able to be present like I am right now and focus and in flow. So I started calling it SoulPrint because we are a soul. We're all a soul. That's how we came to this world. And then we have a print, just like blueprint or fingerprint. And then I call it biology because we are a biological system. And we forgot about that. Like when we build those school systems, we forgot that we're a biological system, and we are always bombarded with all these variables that are going to affect this biological system. I'm not in a vacuum, like where everything is like, protected from me. I'm always getting all these things interacting with me. A text message can throw me off right now, right? Something outside, a sound can throw me off. I have to go see, is it a danger? So we're always bombarded with so many things, but we don't give that grace for it. We don't give that space for it. We think it should just be ready. So in those days, we wanted to create machines. We want humans to go from human to machines, right? When we created the school system, that was the objective. How can we scale this school system in a way we can exit workers who can follow the rules, who can follow the bell, and who can produce? But that's not who we are anymore. And that's why the school system's falling apart. And as a principal, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if someone is listening to you now and hearing this for the first time, how would they start recognizing their soul print? And what does misalignment feel like in the body?
First thing is I would just look at your results. Just look at the results in the last 10 days, 15 days, month, right? What has your results been like? And most of us beat up on our results, right? We set our goals, right? We say we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then we don't get to it. Then we question our own identity, like, am I capable of all of this? So I would say, because we're so performance-driven society at large, we can start with that. That would be the first test, is to see how much have you set things up for you, and where did you feel like you let yourself down and you failed? Just look at that. That's the stat to start with. Number one.
So what changes when someone starts living in alignment with their soul print?
Oh, nothing bothers you. And nothing is that's happening that's going to offset you or make you, like, it could be like a tragic situation, but you'll always stay calm to figure things out. Like, even like meeting new people used to be like biggest thing for me, right? They're this person, they're that person, but they're just a person. With alignment, and when you start really coming home to yourself, you speak from clarity. You speak from this authentic authority. That's what I feel. Authentic authority. There's a double A there for you.
So right? It sounds like readiness isn't separate from SoulPrint Biology. How are they connected?
No. SoulPrint Biology is when we're looking and mapping out the systems to see which one's offline and getting it into alignment and activation. And readiness is what comes out of it. It's like the system, right? It's like operating system for a computer. You have that operating system that determines everything. So readiness is the results, and blocks to flow also governs that as well. Because if we look at the blocks and able to get you to flow, then you can live your authentic self and express yourself with authority, because who doesn't want to live a life like that, right?
Yeah, and it's such a gift when we're able to bring people home to themselves. So if someone is listening now and they're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or exhausted, what could they do today if they're feeling overwhelmed in this moment? What would they do first?
Breathe. I know. I said something so profound, haven't I? No, breathe. Really breathe.
Aren't we always breathing?
Yeah, I know we are, but it's not breathing. That's not breathing. I'm saying, like, really breathing where you feel it all in your every cell of your body. Like, we're not breathing. If you really breathe, you will notice that you haven't sent even air to certain part of your body. You probably have even forgot about certain part of your body. And we call them pain, and we call them, I just have this ongoing chronic pain. Chronic pain is because we forgot to breathe deep. Because when we breathe deep, all our alignments, even our bones and our ligaments, everything aligns again. There's another alignment for you, right? Not just the system alignment, but even your structural alignment when we breathe like that. But we're not. We're breathing from the top. We're breathing like this. I have to perform. I have to be the perfect person. I have to be the perfect employee. I have to get this thing done. I have to be the perfect parent. I have to be the perfect partner, the perfect, right? Everything needs to be perfect and juggle. That's not breathing. That's just surviving.
So how can someone begin to notice that in their day? How do you begin to start noticing that?
There are a few words you will use that I can spot right away. If you keep saying I'm busy, if that's the language you start using, I'm busy, that's a dead giveaway that, you've passed the threshold of surrendering to busyness, right? That's surrendering to busyness. Busyness will never just going to go away, would it?
No.
There's no turning back from that. It's just going to get busier and busier and busier. That's why I tell parents, like, if you keep saying I'm busy, what is that doing for you? Nothing. It does nothing. We can't ignore what we have in front of us. So busy is not a way to just get away from it. It's just making it harder. So we first is, again, awareness and acceptance, right? Accepting that, yes, our life is busy, but that's how parents' life is, right? Do you remember when your daughter was young, right?
Yes.
We all run around. We all run around. We all have to go to work. We all have to shop. We all have to clean. We all have to run around from activity to activity. We were taxi driver for many years, right? Right?
Yep. And we wore it like a badge of honor. I'm so busy. Therefore,
Yes.
I must be successful.
Yes. Yes. So why not stop saying that and then feel it that this is what parenthood is. Yeah. And embrace it, because parenting is not hard. I've been through it 5 times with my stepkids and my own son. It's not hard. But when we carry all of this weight and do it through that weight, it becomes hard. And I can make it hard. We can make it hard. I mean, look at how many young people don't want to have kids. And if you ask their reason, you know why? Because some adults have been saying that it's so hard, I would not ever do that again.
Well, I think maybe some of us made it look hard at times by being so busy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hard is also a good thing to embrace. Why don't we embrace, yeah, I was a busy taxi driver for my son. I was a busy person going from activity to activity. And I was, did I learn how to multitask and manage several things at the same time? Yes. Has he taught me so many things that I would have never learned in my life if he never showed up in my life? Yes. Same for you, right? Through your daughter.
Absolutely.
And your kids, you've learned so much too. So when we say hard to a person who hasn't had a kid, we have to be careful. I think that's a responsibility of people who are already a parent, not to just say like, oh yeah, it's so hard, I would never do it again. Don't do it. That's not good advice.
No, I think anything worthwhile is hard though. We have to work through things. If it's easy, we don't appreciate them the same way.
Yeah, but think about if your parents, were to think that selfish, I wouldn't be here, right? You know what I mean? Every parent has to go through the same journey, right? And however hard it was. I mean, some parents had it harder than me. Like my mom was suffering through a war, which some days she didn't even have food to give us, or clean water to give us.
Yeah.
So they would save up, and they would go hungry and feed us. I didn't have that. But I never saw my mom going, oh, I wish I never had you. You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
Right? They always were with the grace. They did whatever the best they can.
For sure. Absolutely.
So I wish all the people can model that for young people instead of saying kids are hard, don't have them. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So we always attribute success to things that are hard or being busy or performing. But what's the biggest lie that we have been taught about success?
You have to push hard to get successful, work hard. The harder you work, the successful you're going to become. And then some people started saying, no, it's not harder you work, it's smarter you work. Okay, then I followed that trend for a bit myself. And I said, okay, let me be smart. How can I be smart? It didn't work either because I didn't even know what that meant. I thought if there was some gene, I could just tune it in my head to become smart. It didn't work because me coming home, me coming back here, right? And then success is a word of a definition for every single person. Our society has made success into so many different things. There are people who think successful is flying on jets and showing off their cars.
Yeah.
And even if I have zillions of dollars, you would never see me doing that. Because that's not what success is for me. Right?
So
I would be in a fashion show. I would be in a fashion show wearing the best clothes ever because that's me. Because my fashion sense is so much more important than a jet to me, right? For you, it's different too, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has their own success. Defining success should be a personal I should say it's a SoulPrint Biology itself.
Mm-hmm.
What does this soul desire as a success? You know?
Yeah. So in the name of your company, Holistic Success Codes, holistic is such an important piece of that name. What does that actually look like beyond achievement?
Yeah, it started because in the beginning, when I put the W, a lot of people said that's in English, it's wrong. Take it off. I said, nope. I don't care. It's how I'm going to spell it, right? I'm going to go for holistic because I was so tired of seeing us focusing on parts of stuff, segments of stuff, isolated interventions, and even in relationship, people giving isolated advice. I mean, you don't even know the whole story. Why are you talking at this moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense. But we as humans, we learn everything is segmented, compartmentalized. And look at in the education world, we look at problems in so many different parts. When it comes together, we don't even know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So that's where it started, that I didn't want to create anything. I want to say, like, I don't want to half-ass anything. I don't want to half-sell anything. I don't want to give half transformation, quarter transformation. If I'm going to work with somebody and I'm going to deliver something, it has to be holistic transformation that they don't need me ever again. I would tell that to my students all the time. The day you fire me is when I win. So when are you firing me? That's how I worked, which means that they don't need me anymore.
I love that. Working yourself out of a job.
Yeah, that's what I did every single time. They're like, we're done. I'm like, good. And then because I had so many other people to help. Some people might say, aren't you doing wrong for your business? No, that's integrity. You want to serve in a business where people want to fire you. Work your way out of a job because there's thousands and millions of people to help through this. So that's how holistic came. Is I was tired of seeing all these parts and segments, and especially with kids with labels and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. When I was working with them, how so divided it was. Like one professional doing one thing, the other professional doesn't even know.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. Very true.
Now, what are we doing? And then you are in the middle who is supposed to implement this, and you're like, holy, what am I doing here? And you feel so trapped and so stuck. You don't even want to do anything they're saying because it's wrong to do without both party consulting coming together to a common results. And then there's parents who left out in a lot of this.
Or confused. Parents are trying to do the best they can, and they're confused with all of the competing suggestions and strategies. And so if someone is sitting there right now feeling stuck or feeling behind or unsure, what would you want them to hear first?
Really, I need to fix myself to better perform. I think that's a damaging way of living, right? A lot of people think as this external world has so many influence on us, right? Everybody has their own way of saying. And that's why this morning I was saying, like, I get up at 3 a.m. I was saying that in one of the events I was in last week. I said I get up at 3 a.m. Right away, the person I said, oh, you better check your internal systems because that 3 a.m. means that you have liver problem and blah, 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 blah. They went into full diagnosis straight away, right? But I've been doing this for so long, and I always tell people I don't recommend it. It's not the therapy. It's not something I say you must do in order to be successful or anything like that. If you wake up at certain time, your body wakes you up, and you can fall asleep. What is the point of forcing yourself to sleep at that point? Obviously, my brain wants to do something. And usually for me at 3 a.m., it's very creative time. So I use it. I don't think I have a liver problem. So I had to tell them, no. I don't have any internal systems problems. My systems are fine. I check them. I choose to wake up. My body and my soul has this new rhythm where they feel good to wake up at 3 a.m. And then guess what? If my rhythm says go to sleep at 8 a.m., I will fall asleep at 8 a.m. Because I created a life that way. And then guess what? At 12 p.m., I feel like a little bit of sleep. I will lay down again and sleep. It's fine. But do I recommend, or do I tell other people, oh, don't do that or do this? No, that is what I think everybody who's watching this should know, is that anybody's advice is not a blank advice. If something works for me, I have to always say it works for me. Whatever is going to work for you, you have to figure it out. But we have a lot of people who are professionals, and we have a lot of influencers at this point in our society, where they say, this is it. You remember the 5 a.m. club?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who wants to be successful as an entrepreneur has to wake up at 5 a.m.
and make their bed.
Yeah. What if I don't even sleep on the bed? Like I haven't slept on my bed since I came to Cabo.
Then you have to find a bed to make it. Otherwise, you won't be successful.
I have been not sleeping on a bed because I didn't want to. I had certain therapy that I was giving myself. I wasn't going to sleep on the bed. So what am I never going to be successful?
No,
I've already
screwed
up. I screwed up already. So why do we say that? Why do we say that? I think it's a lot to do with ego, right? We need to be humble, and we need to say what works for you. We have to look at the individual behind every individual. We have to look at the soul behind every soul. That's where compassion comes in, right? We don't have that anymore.
The importance of knowing ourselves too, because you lead a life of readiness, but most people don't. Most people don't know what ready feels like. What does readiness feel like? So if you're living a life of readiness and you are in a state of readiness, what does that feel like?
Ease. It's harmony. It's rhythm. It feels like rhythm. And some days, as I said, the time goes, and you don't even recognize that it has gone. And you do have problem. Like I have a lot of problems right now, but it doesn't take my smile off. It doesn't stop me from taking flower pictures. It doesn't stop those little things I would do if I'm happy or if I'm drowning in stuff. Like at the moment, I am drowning in stuff. A lot of things are happening, but they don't make me drown. They're just there. That's why even my days, some people ask, like, how do you pay attention to all these things that are happening? I have these pathways. Like I have like some days, some moments, I feel like I have 20 pathways that are going on. I just visit each pathways at certain time of the day. And then when I visit them, I'm already covering all pathways. And one of them could be like, for example, it could be your email, or one of them could be a specialized going and taking some pictures of a flower. That's a pathway, because that pathway makes me calm, right? So whatever that pathway is, it's not always related to work. And some of them are related to work. So creating that rhythm, I think it's rhythm is the name of the game, is having a rhythm in your life.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it sounds like you want, right? More resilient.
Yeah, resilient. Don't you think it's also knowing what you want and not being sad or not being like, oh, that's such a greedy thing to say that I want this. You know, the video I made today even said, right? I wanted to be by myself. Would I have done this 2 years ago? No, because I had responsibilities. When I was done those responsibilities, there was a time that my soul is saying, you got to be by yourself. Then you honor that. Not think, oh, what is the world going to think? What is that person going to think? What is this person's going to think? No, this is what I need. Am I harming somebody? No. I asked for it. I took it. I'm taking it, and I'm healing. Is that okay? Yes, it's okay. So a lot of us, what we do is we start pretending, right? We start going, okay, I can't do that. So I'm just going to pretend. I'm just going to pretend everything is okay. You can't pretend. How long can you pretend?
Well, till you burn out.
And you become bitter, right? And you become bitter. And who wants to be around bitter people? Do you think anybody in my life that I love or care would want a bitter Kohila beside them?
No.
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 So whose duty is that to say, I need this time, I must take it to heal myself, and this is the best time I can see it, so I'm going to take it. We'll figure things out later. That's our duty, right?
Mhm.
As a person, every single adult has that duty to do, and then we have the duty to do that for our children who don't have that ability as well.
And I
And it's
think
not
that's a good
selfish.
example.
Right?
It's
It's
such a
not
good
selfish.
example. No.
Absolutely. And it's not selfish. It's self-care, it's self-respect. It's
Mhm.
actually relationship respect too. You're respecting the relationship, because if you stay in a lot of these relationships, when you're bitter, what happens? We
It
all
just
know.
becomes
It
toxic
ends.
and
It ends,
absolutely.
right? But this doesn't end. It actually renews. It can. It can have a different outcome. It can have multiple outcomes versus just ending. So if you asked me, how would somebody know if you're becoming more and more bitter, more and more angry, more and more out of rhythm, where you feel like you're no longer yourself, feeling trapped, feeling like you're busy but nothing is getting done, and also saying, I need more than 24 hours a day. How many of us live saying that?
Yeah, lots of people, for sure. But what a great example to provide our kids or our students, or others who are sort of looking to us for leadership of any sort, to be able to say, no, self-care is important.
Yeah.
And this is what it looks like. I think that's a valuable lesson for our kids to learn too. And we don't want our kids to grow up and feel like they have to work themselves to death. We want them to be able to find that rhythm that helps them look after themselves, but also to be able to, find those moments of joy in life.
Yes. And you've been a principal for so long, Tracy. So when you came into our program, you saw this as the missing link, right? The Readiness OS, because as you're saying right now, it reminds me that we're always chasing the performance. We're always chasing the results. It doesn't matter if it's at school or if it's in life or if it's financial or wealth, or it doesn't matter. Anywhere we go, we're chasing that. That's the end result. And that's what success means, having them all figured out, right? But then we forget ourselves in the midst of it.
Yes. And that's when burnout happens. And we're no good to anyone when we burn out. We're no good to our families. We're no good to our students. We're no good to our staff. And in education, we have quite literally tried everything else. But the one thing that we don't do is we don't teach children how their brain works, how their body systems work, and how they work together. And so oftentimes kids feel like they're passengers on a vehicle they can't control, because quite honestly, we haven't taught them how to control it. And it's just, this is why I call this the missing link, because when we're able to teach kids how their brain and body work, when we're able to show them that they're not broken, that they're just blocked and there's something they can do about that, it is so empowering, and it's so transformational in the sense that they carry these skills with them forever and apply them to every aspect of their life. And they no longer feel like they are just a label, or that they're broken because they have to take medication, or that, they're failing, or that they're different. It is just so healing, I think, to be able to teach kids how their body works, what they can do, and just help them live a life of peacefulness, which I think is missing in so many areas of society today.
Yeah. And it's easy to teach them. They love it. That's the beautiful part, is they so love it. They
Feels
want to, it feels good, and they
good.
feel like it makes sense.
Mhm.
It makes sense. I always say, right, if somebody had taught me all about hormones when I was young, it would have made every sense what I was going through. My anger would have made sense. My pimples would have made sense. Right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Even simple things like that, I didn't know. I thought it was, some kind of disease or something. We don't know. Why are we so blind as we grow up? And if you don't have parents who are going to teach you that, you just go thinking something's wrong with you, something's wrong with you, something's wrong with you. And eventually you say that enough times, something is wrong with you.
Mm-hmm. And then add things like labels, ADHD, autism, all of the anxiety, depression. You add a label, and then someone prescribes you a medication to go with it, and nobody ever really explains, how your body's working. And so all of those things contribute to this identity of brokenness that we really want to move away from, for sure.
About food, how many of us had any education on proper food? Mm-hmm. Every time I went even for my pimples, I used to have a lot of pimples on my face when I was growing up, 12, 13. I hated it. I hated my self-image. I can't even take a picture of myself. I used to say I hate myself. They would prescribe me a birth control pill repeatedly. At the age of 13, they want me to go on it. Mm-hmm. They said, this is the best solution for you. This is the best solution for you. This is the best solution. There was no organic or holistic way of teaching me anything about it except go on this medication. I never did, because I couldn't take that stuff because I was always getting sick from it. I said, I need to figure something else out. Oh, of course, we go through all the products in the world, right? That cream, that remedy, this remedy. But we could have understood about hormones, and it was a lot related to food. Of course, a lot of it was related to food. Never a thing about education. Just take the pill. And that pill especially will screw you up if you're on it for so long, since 13.
Yeah.
So why was I recommended that? And that's how I got screwed up with all my hormones, right? Until I was in this age, I didn't even know I had all these problems. Mm-hmm. Give me a second, because the leaf blower cutter is on. 1 second. They just know when I go live. They just know. Until then, they're all like quiet. The minute I turn on to record, they go, whoo!
Well, they want to be part of the show.
Yes, that's it. I don't know if you were hearing it, but it was pretty loud. But yes, thank you. Thank you for asking me all those questions. This is amazing. And I wanted to ask you, like, you are one of those people who came into my world, and you sometimes make me, like, you believe more than I believe sometimes. That's how I feel, which is honorable, right? I say it from my heart. So thank you. Thank you for believing in ReadinessOS and saying that this is a missing link, and coming from you being in the classroom 30 years plus and retiring. Mm-hmm. It's an honor to hear that from you. And I'm excited for what we're going to do with it, and how people are receiving it, and how people are now noticing that this foundation, without this, it doesn't matter what you add on top. No. It's a class. Right?
And we, like I said, we've tried everything else. This is different. This is the first thing that I have seen in 30 years that's different. Everything else was just different versions of the same thing. But this is different. We have not done this in education. And I really believe that if this were sewn into the fabric of our education system, of our parenting, of our leadership, of the way that we function as a society, I think that life would be far more enjoyable for everyone.
Yes. Yeah, and we can grow up thinking we're not broken. Mm-hmm. Something broken to be fixed, instead of, I mean, even the word, I just love it. When I say someone is blocked, it means that you just take it off. It's how it feels, simple. Just take out the blocks and you're fine.
Yes.
But when I'm broken,
solvable.
Yeah, it's solvable. But when I say I'm broken, now broken means we have to mend it together, fix it together. And mm-hmm. that requires some kind of cement or some kind of glue. And what is that going to be, right?
Yeah.
And that's a difficult one to find. But block is just removing. Let's remove it. And I can even help you remove it.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it can be, if I bring awareness to you, I can help you. As more awareness I bring, you're going to go, that's the problem there. I'm going to go and pick it up. So it's like,
and it's empowering.
Yeah, we started at the same time. Empowerment.
It's empowering because it's something I can do for myself as well. I don't have to go seek out something else. Everything that I need is right here inside. I just have to know what to do with it.
Yeah, the awareness piece is number one. That's what is missing when we're so in the moment. That's why we need a coach, right? It doesn't matter what age, whatever. I even see a coach because when we're in it, the blocks change over years, right? Everybody has blocks at different stages of their life. A coach can then pinpoint that block, and the minute we bring the awareness, then we can start into alignment and activation. Yeah, so it's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Those were good questions. And
Did you like them?
Oh, love it. We need to do this more. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm going to end.